Okay, Derby Eyes. We just got a lot of Emmy news over the past week or so um, pertaining to the new rules about what's a drama, what's a comedy. If you're a 60-minute comedy, you are allowed to petition. Three shows were able to petition, and they won their petitions, and that is Shameless is a comedy, Jane the Virgin is a comedy, and Glee is a comedy. But there was one show that petitioned and lost, and that's Orange is the New Black. So last year's big comedy champion, well, it didn't win, on the primetime show, but it won 3 Emmys in the comedy races. It's now a drama. So I'm just going to come to you, Daniel. What do you make of all of this? Did the Emmys make correct decisions? Did they mess up on anything that you think should be reversed? Give us your thoughts.
The way the news came out, when they announced that Jane the Virgin, Shameless, and Glee all got the pass to enter the comedy race, the fact that Orange is the New Black was absent from that announcement made me think, okay, Orange is the New Black they're going to make an example of it, or else it would have been in that original announcement. So I wasn't surprised then to find out that Orange is the New Black was entered as a drama. The interesting thing about that is that it really feels like now that this rule change, because it only ended up applying to Orange is the New Black, it feels almost like it was custom designed to apply to Orange is the New Black. Because, the TV Academy got some flack last year. There might have been even a joke on the telecast, I think, about how Orange is the New Black isn't really a comedic show. But it's the only show that got really bumped to drama, and half-hour shows that arguably have the same dramatic content, like, Transparent and Nurse Jackie and even Looking and, shows like that. Those are still comedies because they're 30 minutes. So this really feels, now that this has happened, this was Orange is the New Black rule.
Right. And Ralph, you predicted this, right? You knew Orange would have to, that they would lose their petition and that they would go drama, right? How did you know that?
Because just from what Daniel said, it just seemed like there was so much backlash last year at the Emmys with this stuff, and maybe because Orange is the New Black had gone drama at the Globes and then switched to comedy for the Emmys, and we all know that it wasn't really. I think it was intended for Netflix to always be a drama, but there was more space at the on the comedy side, and they already had House of Cards, so why ruin that? And so they needed one program to make an example, because we all talked about it. We all said there has to be somebody in there that they're doing this for, because if they just made this rule and then they're going to let everybody slide into the comedy series slots, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, why make the rule? So, but in the long run, I think it's the best thing that ever happened to Orange is the New Black, and I think they should be extremely happy because they're going to be right in the thick of these races now. Anybody that Jenny Erman, when I spoke to her at Paley Fest, she told us, Marcus, that she had to submit all of the already aired episodes to the committee and write them a long, kind of a long letter of why. And if you submit all of Orange is the New Black season 2, who the hell is going to sit there and say, yes, this is a comedy and this is laugh out loud funny? Probably nobody. We were all thinking Larry Toussaint could get nominated for an Emmy, but nobody thought she could win on the comedy side because she didn't really have any funny material. Now I would say she's a front runner for drama supporting actress. So I think this is a great move for them. And they may be disappointed on Netflix because they have Bloodline and because of House of Cards, but Orange is a lock. At least I think. Rob?
No, I completely disagree with you, mate. I think this hurts Orange. I really do. And this is the reason, because when you're going through the shows that are in contention on either side, I just think that the drama side is so heavy, the comedy side is so light in comparison. I'm struggling to come up with 7 choices that I feel really confident in with the comedies, and yet on the drama side, I'm kicking things out that you could make a really good argument for, and I think Orange is probably in there. I agree with you on that, but I don't think it's a lock, and I think it hurts them, and I think they're going to struggle to get into other categories like directing and maybe lead actress is going to be a problem. That's a very difficult category to get into for Taylor Schilling, in my opinion. This hurts them, and I think it's really unfair that the Emmys decided to do it. I think they should have left Orange where it was. It already won a few Emmys in comedy. Really, compared to Shameless, how much more funnier is Shameless compared to Orange? I think they're both very much in a similar. They have a similar tone. So I just, yeah, I think this whole thing was done and devised to put Orange back into drama where it should have gone to begin with. When it first started in its awards trajectory, you know, it was drama at the Golden Globes, it was drama at the SAGs. It did very badly, and then when it was time for Emmys, it went to comedy and did really well, and that made everyone very skeptical. So I feel really sorry for them.
I'm looking at the Gold Derby predictions right now, and by the way, all of the shows that we're talking about, they are in the correct categories now. So go update your predictions, which is really important. If you predicted beforehand, you have to update them now. Orange is the New Black, according to the overall standings, is in 5th place already for best drama series. So our website as a whole thinks it's going to get in. I think it's going to get in too. I think if it's getting in, that means something we were predicting is maybe going to miss out. You already mentioned Bloodline. I think Bloodline, it would have had a good chance, but now that there's House of Cards and Orange is the New Black, we're not going to see 3 Netflix shows here. That's almost unheard of for any network to get 3 shows, let alone a streaming network that's just kind of entering the whole Emmy business as of a year or 2 years ago. What about you guys? What show do you think is really hurt by this in the drama race?
Well, apart from Bloodline, which definitely is hurt, that's almost like a foregone conclusion now from what you just said. I totally agree with that. I think, unfortunately, The Good Wife is hurt the most, and maybe The Affair. I think those 2 shows really will struggle now to get in because of Orange is the New Black. And, yeah, so they're the ones that are hurt the most. Does everyone agree with those 2, or have you got any other suggestions? What do you think, Daniel?
I agree with. I didn't have Good Wife necessarily coming back in anyway, but this does hurt The Affair. I think I knocked The Affair down to my 7th slot, and I'm still not confident it'll get in just because it won Golden Globes. Golden Globe shows don't always translate to the Emmys, and The Affair, the Affair didn't generate as much, buzz and media attention, especially months after it's finished airing. It might be sort of out of sight, out of mind for Emmy voters. So, but I have it in my number 7 slot still, just because I don't know what else to put in there at this point. That might be clarified over the next couple of months. If there's a sudden breakout or surge for something, we could see that happen. I could see Homeland coming back in, Better Call Saul getting in, Bloodline maybe, but again, probably not, because I don't think they nominate 3 Netflix shows, and it's definitely the 3rd rung there. So yeah, I think that's that last slot is still very much up for grabs, but Orange is the New Black just made it a lot harder to get in.
What about the most watched show on television, Ralph? Do you think Empire's going to get in there?
I think it's a little shakier now. I'm not as confident because of the whole Orange going into drama, and there being so many quality dramas out there. Like Daniel said, I don't think The Affair is that as much of a lock. I wasn't really counting on it in there anyway. But I think like Better Call Saul could also, maybe not see that auto nomination we thought it would get because Breaking Bad had left the AMC slot open. So I think Orange kind of put a wrench in a lot of people's or a lot of shows nomination possibilities, but it just makes it all that more exciting. And just to backtrack a little, Rob, I think it's because you're not a Shameless fan, but Shameless this season is far more of a comedy than Orange is the New Black was season 1 or season 2. So I think that's why it got the pass. And last year, I would argue yes, it was definitely more dramatic last season when it got placed in comedy. But this season, for sure, it deserves to be in the comedy slot. But anyway,
well, I'm glad you cleared that up. No, because I wasn't sure. I saw when they made that call. I thought that's really odd, especially after when Orange was deemed a drama. I thought, wow, that just seems so hypocritical. But if you're saying, I don't watch Shameless anymore. If you're saying Shameless is much more comedic, then great, maybe they made the right call. But what I want to know from all of you is, do any of you actually have Better Call Saul in your top 7? Because I don't, and I can't imagine putting it in there.
I do.
I don't think it's happening.
I don't have it in there. I have I actually do have Empire getting in there. I feel like Empire is going to be this year's, Grey's Anatomy, this year's Heroes, the kind of show that Emmy voters don't usually gravitate towards, but it's too big to ignore. It's such a huge hit. It's such a, it's got so much buzz and media attention for its ratings, for its success. This is a show I think gets a drama series once and then maybe falls out next year. But I have Empire getting in there, and then I have my 7th slot. But yeah, I don't have Better Call Saul getting in there. I'm not sure it gets an automatic nomination just because it follows Breaking Bad. I think it might actually be hurt by that. If people are comparing it to Breaking Bad, they might not automatically say, okay, let's nominate this other thing that maybe they don't like as much. We don't know yet.
I have Empire 6 and Saul in 7th. But Daniel, who did you have in 7th? Did you say? You cut out there.
I still have The Affair in 7th. Very, very shaky, but I have it instead.
I was really not convinced about Empire until last week when we had one of these chats, and Ralph, you kind of convinced me that I really should be back on the Empire train. I've been wavering, but God help the Emmy voters if they don't nominate Empire. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Like, is that too forward for me to say? And if that doesn't happen, there'll be quite a backlash. There hasn't been a show like this on network TV to really seep into the zeitgeist like this one has in many, many years. They really have to nominate it. I can't imagine them not doing it.
I was just going to say something very similar. Didn't Tom O'Neill say, it must have been a slugfest last year, about most of the voters work in broadcast. So I think he was trying to make a point for how The Good Wife could get back in. But this year, I almost want to put it higher than 7th. I want to put it like in 4th or 3rd place because I think it's almost guaranteed for a nomination. But I've been wrong before. Hashtag Dixon curse.
Yeah, put it in 8th. Put it in 8th. Go 8th.
But I'm not giving up on Good Wife either. Okay, talking about broadcast, I've got that in 7th. I don't know if anyone's seen the last few episodes, but my God, it is just hitting it out of the park, mate. It really deserves to be in there. I'm not going to give up.
The one called Mind's Eye last week was so good. It was the one from her perspective, and she's kind of sick, and she's having these visions, and it's really good. If the show, gets a directing nomination, that could win directing. It's so cleverly directed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 8. I'm not counting it out. I think it's smart to not count it out. I mean, I would flip Saul and The Good Wife, any day, and be happy with either one.
And there's the 2%
So what are we all
rule.
having first? Oh yeah, the 2% rule.
2% rule. There could be 8 or 9 nominations. So
that's true.
Good point. Let's hope so. It's a close race. Maybe that might squeeze in. But what are we all having first? Is House of Cards generally the incumbent, or not incumbent, but it's really the front runner? Yeah, I can't see how it's not.
I'm not feeling House of Cards.
You're not feeling it? Okay, that's interesting.
By the time the Emmy nominations come around in July, will people still be talking about this show? I mean, it premiered was it March or February? I don't remember, but I know last year it premiered on Valentine's Day, and by the time May and June came around, no one was talking about it. It had absolutely no buzz. All the buzz was on Game of Thrones, and oddly enough, Breaking Bad was still being talked about, even though it aired in September.
Yeah. Well, there's so much buzz for Game of Thrones right now, and it's still quite a few weeks away from premiering. It's still it's like people are so excited for its return. And can you imagine? It's going to be like a tsunami when that starts. But I just finished watching House of Cards 2 days ago, and it's still very much at the forefront of my mind. But maybe in a week or two, you're right, Marcus, it might just kind of start to evaporate. So that doesn't help it.
Right, and that's not a slight on the show. It's more of a slight on the release model, how they release all at once. If they released it 1 week at a time, the show would go, from March to May, I guess, because there's 13 episodes. But what about Mad Men? Could this be the dark horse to win? Think about it. It's four-time Emmy winner for Best Drama Series, and this is its final shot.
Yeah, it could be like Everybody Loves Raymond and come back and win for its final season.
Yeah.
If it's really good, why not? And you know what? Let's be honest. Who's one of the best predictors on the planet? Chris Beecham. And last I checked, it was a week and a half ago, he had it in first. So he might have changed it. And I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure he had it right up there. And obviously he hasn't seen it yet. Yeah, check right now. He might have moved. But he hasn't seen it. But I trust Chris's judgment. And maybe he's got that thought that it could pull out a win. It'd be really cool for it to do that. It's been a while since it's won an Emmy. I'd like John Hamm to win. That's another story.
It will need to explode. These last 7 episodes
yeah.
will be enormous. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not like Breaking Bad, which was gaining in attention as it was going along. This show had its heyday, and even no matter what you think of its quality, it definitely doesn't have the attention it once had. It definitely doesn't have that new show smell anymore, and so for these last episodes to come back after 3 years of not winning and a couple of years of not winning a single award,
Yeah, that's true.
it's really going to need to put itself back on the map in such a big way, and that we won't know until we see the episodes. Matt Weiner could absolutely have that up his sleeve, but I'm not confident in saying that'll win. I think it's going to be at this stage of the race between House of Cards and Game of Thrones, and I have 100 Game of Thrones. They don't like fantasy, but this is such a big show. It's such a classy kind of show. It's not. It's the kind of fantasy that they might feel permission to like, but we'll have to see when those episodes come out how those are received, and Game of Thrones looks due at this point in a way that House of Cards doesn't.
Yeah,
So,
you're absolutely right.
I'm looking at Chris Beecham's predictions, and I nearly fell off my chair. He's predicting Orange is the New Black to win Best Drama.
Wow, that's fascinating. We need to ask him why.
I wish he was here. And he has Mad Men down in third, Downton Abbey in second. This is something to really think about.
That's something to think about. Downton Abbey is going to be strong, I think. It's had its best season, maybe, according to a few people that I trust. And Joanne Froggatt could start winning more awards. She won the Golden Globe, surprisingly. Yeah, Downton Abbey is a dark horse. I hope it's really dark and it just evaporates all together, but that's not going to happen. So
not surprisingly to Daniel, he called Joanne Froggatt at the Globe.
He did.
I did unofficially. I can only take unofficial credit for that because I was the first person to make the case for it, and then I predicted her, and then I moved her back down into my number 2 slot. So I don't officially get credit for that one, but I am on the record. If you go back and find our Golden Globe slugfest,
on that slugfest, you were predicting her.
I was, and let's pretend that's the last time I ever said about it, and pretend.
Let's just pretend that
Would you guys rather get 10 right and 1 wrong? What I'm saying is, if you get one right that is so out of the box and so just 100 to 1 odds, would you rather have that, or would you rather get everything else right? You know what I mean? Would you rather have that one win that you could just cherish for the rest of your life?
Yeah, it's a good point, Marcus.
I would rather have the most right because I've seen predictors do that on our website. I look through some people's predictions and I'm saying, okay, you are going long shot, long shot, long shot, long shot in the hopes that you're going to strike. The lightning is going to strike. You'll get bragging rights and you'll get everything else wrong. But if you have the bragging rights on the category, that's all.
I know, but seriously, coming first is awesome. But when Chris and I picked that Damian Lewis Emmy win about 2 or 3 years ago, we still talk about that because it was really we'll never let it go. We're never going to let that one go. So it's a good feeling. But we need to talk about comedy, okay, guys? Because that's really I'm losing a little bit of sleep over that one, and that just shows that I need to get out more. But drama, yeah, there's lots of stuff to choose from. Comedy, I get to my 6 and 7, and I just stare at the shows that are left in the other column and think, what am I going to drag over? Because I don't really want to put in Transparent. And Grace and Frankie, no idea. And I don't personally think Jane the Virgin has a chance. Sorry, Ralph. And so I'm just struggling. So what are those shows? I've got Girls in there, and that's just ridiculous. But I had Girls in there. I think I might just have to swap it out. That is kind of ridiculous. But stranger things have happened. So what are the shows that are on the cusp that we think really have a good shot of making it in? I mean, we don't know about Grace and Frankie, do we? So what else is there?
I'm very confident about my top 6 because comedy again is it's not as competitive as drama. So I've got Modern Family, Veep, Louie, Big Bang Theory. I think with the 7th slot, Silicon Valley will easily come back. And then I've got Transparent coming in new, so that's 6. And what's that last slot? That last slot is the one that I'm having trouble with. And for now, and this is very likely to change and fluctuate as the weeks go by, but for now I've got the comedians in there.
Yeah, all right.
I have the same 7 in a slightly different order, but that's my 7 as well. I had Grace and Frankie for a while. I took them out and put in the comedians because we've been shooting emails back and forth amongst our editors, and there's a lot of editors who are really, really loving the show. I haven't actually watched it yet, but that's actually why I took out Grace and Frankie, because it's an unknown. We haven't seen it. But what about Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt on Netflix? What do you guys think? No.
I think it has a better shot for Ellie Kemper. I think Ellie Kemper has a really good shot at a comedy actress nomination.
That'd be awesome. But I couldn't sit through that, unfortunately. Maybe I'll have to give it another chance. That doesn't mean it's not going to get nominated, but I can't imagine that it's got enough behind it, apart from Tina Fey and the that name recognition. But I think even Louis is in trouble. Louis, Grace and Frankie, the comedians, they're all, I think, there's they're only there because there's not much else. Ralph, we really need to hear from you, because we know how you feel about Jane the Virgin, but last week we talked about Transparent, and you really convinced me, again, you're so bloody persuasive, you really convinced me that Transparent is not as locked as many people think it is, right?
Well, I only have 4 that I think are actual locked, and I have Modern Family in first, which I don't think I'll move at all until after the Emmys. Veep in second, Big Bang Theory, and Silicon Valley. Then after that, I don't know. I mean, if the comedians does well, I'm not sure if FX can get both the comedians and Louis 2 FX shows in the comedy series race. I mean, that would be great for them, but I'm not sure if they can do it. So which one do you pick, the newer one or the one that's kind of wearing down? Even though they do love Louis C.K., he did win the writing award last season. I don't buy the Transparent thing. I think it's I don't think Amazon has done. I don't. Here's my thing. I don't see how we can automatically think that Amazon Prime winning a Golden Globe for Transparent as best comedy series is going to get them into the comedy series race, and then on the drama side, dismiss The Affair for winning a drama series award on Showtime, which Showtime has a history actually at the Emmys, and then dismiss, and then say, well, a network show like Jane the Virgin can't get in because it's the CW, but Amazon Prime, hell yeah, for sure, on a comedy that's not really a comedy. I think we can all agree, if you've seen an episode of Transparent, it's not funny. I mean, Orange is the New Black Season 2, which is now in the drama, was funnier than Transparent Season 1. So I think it's really based, if Jeffrey Tambor wasn't in that role, I don't see how Transparent would even be talked about at this point. Nice. So I think it's all Jeffrey Tambor. And then also, I don't think Unbreakable has a shot. I'm with Rob on that one. I voiced my opinion on that. I just don't see anything worthwhile about that show. People say, oh, it's Tina Fey's 30 Rock. 30 Rock had Alec Baldwin. Kimmy Schmidt doesn't have anything like that Emmy voters would kind of cling on to. It's just, I'll pass on that one. And so, the comedians, I saw the pilot, and I decided not to watch any more episodes because I wanted to watch it as it aired. I thought it was funny, and some of the editors aren't enjoying it as much as we all thought. So we're kind of divided on that as well. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be great seeing who they decide, because I think there's going to be a couple of wows in there, or they're just going to be boring like they were with their comedy wins last year and just nominate everybody they nominated before and then throw in like Transparent.
Does my favorite new show have a shot? The Last Man on Earth. I think it's the funniest show in a long, long time. Please tell me it has a shot. No.
It doesn't have a shot.
I don't know. I mean, it's Fox, and Fox is going to push like hell for Empire, and they're going to have to couple it with something. So it might. And the last episode, I thought the last episode was the funniest one it had, with January Jones in it. Even though, Marcus, I know we had talked about this, the previews for next week's episode looks like a guy could be coming into the mix, which would mean essentially that title is false advertising.
It's completely
false advertising.
wrong.
And then there's 3 shows that are ending this year.
It's hard, I don't think.
I wonder if like the buzz for the like Glee, Parks and Recreation, and 2.5 Men. These are former nominees. Can they come back in because of the final buzz for their final season?
Glee, definitely not. That's one of those shows that I lump in with sort of Grey's Anatomy and Heroes. These are shows that the Emmy voters don't really like, but they're too big to ignore, which is why I think Empire gets into the drama series race this year. And they gave up on Glee a couple of years ago and back to it. Parks and Recreation probably has the best shot, but a lot of that would probably just be wishful thinking on my part. I don't think they've liked it ever as much as the audience or its fans did, or as much as critics did. They have gone out of their way to dismiss that show. They never nominated Poehler for acting. They only nominated it once for comedy series. I think it was only nominated that one year for writing. It had 2 nominations that year, but that was the only year I think it got in there. And so, other than sound editing, the sound editors love Parks and Recreation, but it has just not been there. And 2.5 Men, I think, they were. It was even older. They are long done with 2.5 Men.
What about
really?
Say that again, Rob.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, what about, you're probably going to say the ABC sitcoms, right? There's a few of them that are so critically loved, and yet I can't imagine any of them making it in, and that's it then for broadcast, because I think of anything 2.5 Men made, I don't know, it's been there before. It's won Emmys, only 2 or 3 years ago for John Cryer. It's possible. There's got to be something that's going to just make us all really surprised. I
was going to say, potentially like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I mean, it won last year. I mean, this year Fox could push that, or Blackish. It's the #1 new comedy of the season on ABC, and nobody's even talking about it.
And it's acclaimed. It's it's not on my list.
It's really good.
I don't know why it wasn't on my radar. It's absolutely probably in the top 10 among contenders. It's a big hit. It follows Modern Family. They'll be watching it. It has snob appeal because it's about rich people, just like Modern Family. It has all the ingredients for a potential nominee, at least, if not a winner. I think I might actually now move that in my #7 slot. I think the only problem with that was that maybe our enthusiasm for that is a bit dampened by the fact that it didn't get the Golden Globe nomination, and the fact that the Golden Globes usually love the cool new show. Are the Emmys now gonna go for it? But it might actually be more the Emmys could be.
But see, I think what I love the Emmys did with this whole rules change is I think they just kind of threw up a big middle finger to everybody and said, we don't give a crap what you guys do, guilds, what you decide, the Golden Globes, we don't care what you guys do. We're our own monster. We're like the Oscars. We do our own thing. We nominate our own people, who we like, what we think is the best, and they don't even really pay attention. I mean, that all helps because of the buzz that it builds for those shows. But I could still see a Blackish coming in. I mean, come on, Flight of the Conchords on HBO came in out of nowhere and it was nominated for comedy series. So definitely something like this could happen.
Well, that's the perfect segue. What about the cable stuff that we don't necessarily talk about very much? And Showtime has Happy-ish coming out soon. Is that the right title, Happy-ish? I don't even know anything about it, but could that be? Well, we're going to know more in a few weeks when other shows start premiering. Like there's HBO has, is it Togetherness, Daniel? I don't even know what that is. And Nurse Jackie, they love Nurse Jackie, right? They keep giving that nominations and awards. That could absolutely sneak in if it has a great final season. And we're all going to get a chance to see Louis, I think, next week when press starts seeing that online. And that we'll know more about Louis when we've seen some of the first few episodes. So then things will become a bit clearer. And I'm not giving up on Girls just quite yet. I know some of you think there's no shot there, but I don't agree. I think it's a possibility too because it's very light in this category.
Yeah, but it got snubbed last year, and it was a light category last year too.
True, that's true. That's true. But
don't you wish
cable, we have to look at cable.
Don't you wish The Good Wife was a comedy?
Yeah, it would be for sure. Like it would
get in. It would win. It would be
so funny. It is so funny. Yeah. So yeah. Unfortunately, we're at this stage now where we don't know. There's a lot of moving pieces. Things haven't premiered yet, obviously, and it's hard to really know the lay of the land. All we can do is just kind of figure it out as at this point in time and kind of guess about things like Grace and Frankie. That could be a complete disaster, but it doesn't look like it will be because it has the pedigree. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's one set I would never want to visit.
Yeah.
Let's see. Should we talk about the acting races, or should we leave that for another day?
Oh, we could be here all day if we talk about those. But
yeah,
I mean, does anyone have any final thoughts, perhaps? Anything else that we need to know?
Okay, what can beat Modern Family, or is it unbeatable?
Oh, that's unbeatable.
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 I don't think it's unbeatable. I think right now I think Veep is the best position to do it. I think it'll depend on what the season coming up looks like, and then how the Emmy voters respond to it. Because it's been gaining in nominations from season to season. It got the writing nomination, I believe, last year that it had been lacking for the first couple of years. So it's on the way up. And if it gets enough nominations that it looks like okay, it's hitting its peak, then I'm automatically gonna pick. I've got Modern Family in my first slot as a placeholder. I really feel like they're gonna make a point to go somewhere else after 5 years. But it's just a matter of where that is, and that's still sort of the wait and see.
Yeah, if Veep has a stellar season, I think it would be the only one primed to upset it. I mean that's the only thing I can see.
It's the show I'm most.
A lot of us will be willing. Oh yeah, totally. It's going to be amazing with Hugh Laurie. But we're all going to be willing Modern Family to not win, even if we love the show and we love the people in it. That's beside the point. But because we want to see something new and different, it's been 5 years. We're a bit over it, and I think we're going to have to try not to be too clouded by that in our predictions and in our chats over the next few months, because it could certainly happen again. Emmy voters love going back to the well. They love it. They're obsessed with going back to the well, and they will probably. I reckon they'll just do it again, unless Veep is so extraordinary and buzzed about that it just cannot be ignored.
Or if Jane the Virgin gets in and it submits amazing episodes, that'll right there.
Jane the Virgin is a candidate for a comedy series. It will never win, as sad as that makes me, but it's though, to think about the state of comedy on television, and even though we say that the comedy races are kind of weaker than the drama races, given what a golden age it's been for TV drama, it is a little sad that in almost a decade there have only been 2 Emmy winners for Best Comedy Series, because it was 30 Rock for 3 years and then Modern Family for 5. So that those are the only good comedies that have happened in the last decade.
How ridiculous!
Absurd. Yeah.
That's absurd. On my dream Emmy ballot, I have Veep winning comedy, and I have on drama I have Game of Thrones winning. So if those 2 were to actually win Emmys, I don't know what I would do. Oh my God! I would go crazy.
You would crazy.
And everyone go to Gold Derby and make your dream Emmy ballot predictions too. We want to know what you want to win compared to what you think will win. I think that's really interesting to see where the differences are.
Yeah, I'm going to do that right now.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, we will catch up with you next time. Thanks.